Hello there. Jack Willard here. Worldwide Ramblings tonight. If you're seeing this promo before the show actually happens tonight, May the 21st, 2025. As I do this promo, it's about 1:47 in the morning, and we'll be live tonight at 10 p.m. East Coast time, US of A. Translate that to your time zone, wherever you may be. We're back in the chilly zone, about 49 degrees right now. Thursday, we'll have rain, be in the 40s, could even hit the upper 30s at night, Thursday night into Friday morning. There's no real hot weather forecast for the next week. Um, it seems like spring, summer are short enough without having cold days in May, but you never know what to expect with the weather anymore. We'll have a Bob Joyce chat tonight on Worldwide Ramblings. People have been commenting on various things. Um, One of our viewers was saying that they came to the conclusion that the video of Bob Joyce that Greg Pritchard took, you can find that video right here. Shocking new Bob Joyce video. Um, it's the same guy. They're all one and the same because she thinks she sees some scars there. And I mean, scars rule over everything, it seems. If you think there's an identical scar or two, or it looks that way to you, the scar could be on Danny DeVito, and you'd say, well, that's Elvis. That's Elvis. So, never been really too interested in the scars and veins. When it comes to Elvis Presley, it's all in the eyes. You look in his eyes, and to me, that's where you make your determination. And about 85, 90% of the people that go to Household of Faith and have gone since Greg Pritchard shot that video with Bob Joyce in the small house with Willina and a dog, no security that we could tell. Um, 90 to 95% of the people that attended Household of Faith after that or have attended before say that's not the man they saw. So that's one issue we might be talking about tonight on Worldwide Ramblings. And the documentary that's being filmed is another. People talk about the book, oh, as soon as he passes away, which we all hope, I think, we all hope is going to be a long time from now, there's going to be a book released. I've heard that many times. I've never gotten any verification on it. It wouldn't surprise me if he's writing a book, Pastor Bob Joyce. I'm talking about the one we see most Sundays at Household of Faith, the one we saw at Mar-a-Lago, the one we saw sing No One Stands Alone a few days after Lisa Marie's tragic death in the sanctuary of Household of Faith, choosing the very song that she chose to honor her father in tribute. She turned it into a duet using old Elvis footage. He chose that song a few days on a Sunday, of course, after her passing, and he was not at the public memorial. The funeral that followed about 5 days later was a different story. That fell on a Saturday. Had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. No recording devices of any kind allowed. Other than that, I'm very concerned about our friends in Kentucky. We have a lot of people that watch Worldwide Ramblings in Kentucky. I know the London, Kentucky area has been badly affected, and it was moving on. 80-mile-an-hour winds once again in Kentucky. Can you figure that out, you know? Whereas Las Vegas is just fine. The French Quarter is just fine. Um, Amsterdam is just fine, where sin runs rampant, you know? So it's often in the Bible Belt. I don't think anybody has an answer that would satisfy me uh, on a topic like that. But please let us know in the comments section here if you're from Kentucky. As I say, bad weather was going to move on, according to weather reports, possibly into Nashville and Memphis. Nashville and Memphis, for example, Tennessee. So I love some weather reports from people. We'll be praying for you. I'll pray for you tonight before I retire for the evening, which is really the early morning. And this type of extreme weather just seems to be a reality. Every fall, it's a reality in the state of Florida and other places, and greatly affected North Carolina. How are things going in the Appalachians? How's the recovery going? Are people still living in tents or in portable trailers? I'm sure they are in parts of North Carolina. You know, a story is in the headlines for a while, then you don't hear about it, but we'd love to hear, if you're involved or if you know someone who's involved, what the update is. Here politically, we're having to watch these ads already. It's just May, but we're hearing the ads for candidates for New York City mayor, New Jersey governor, all very anti-Trump people. They seem to miss the fact that they are alienating so many people as Trump gets more and more popular. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything he does or the way he does things, just like you don't have to agree that every decision Benjamin Netanyahu made regarding Gaza was the right decision, the right way to handle something. But if you're a Christian, the Bible calls us to stand up for Israel, and we know the terrible thing that happened in October of 2023. So we've got a whole new set of clowns. Andrew Cuomo is running for New York City mayor, and now they're investigating him over comments he made involving the pandemic during COVID. He acted, I think, on the best information that he had at the time, but that spirit of trying to get your opponent arrested out of the race by charging them with whatever you can come up with is still very much the Democrat progressive playbook. This is what they want to do to get the competition out of the way. They tried so hard with President Trump, but I believe God had another plan for him, protected him, and he was destined to be the 47th president of the United States. So now we have the 46th president diagnosed with serious prostate cancer. that most doctors would say he would have had for years, including during his presidency. But they are making it sound that they just found out a very short time ago after his appearance on The View. After his appearance on The View, they suddenly found out that he had prostate cancer. You can't find a PSA reading on Joseph R. Biden. You have to go all the way back to 2014. Now, since 2014, I have probably had about, it's got to be more than 25 PSA blood screenings. It's definitely twice a year, but I think my GP may kick in another reading. So 2 to 3 times a year. There's special PSA blood work they can do now that came out fairly recently that's more thorough. I had that done. They can violate you and not even give you a drink first with the fingers technique. Had that done a number of times. And then they can do biopsies as well. They don't do that as much as they used to, but they can do biopsies. I had that done once as well. So it's something that you keep a watch on. I heard that what they are saying is that after you turn 75 years old, they stop doing prostate checks. No more PSAs for you. The treatment would be too much for you. You know, I guess we're talking about chemo, radiation. So they just stop. You know, if you're going to die of prostate cancer, it's going to be slow growing. This has been slow growing, they think, with Joseph R. Biden. And, you know, just stop with the colonoscopies, stop with, you know, radical treatment for prostate cancer after 75. I think of William Shatner, who's 94 years old, host of The Unexplained, who just saw a picture of him waiting for an Uber at LAX. I don't know why he couldn't get a limo. He's William Shatner, you know. And what if they had told him at 75, no more PSAs, you know, Bill, you've lived a good life. And you wouldn't be strong enough to handle the treatment anyway. You know, he gets around pretty good. Been into space and everything else. Do I believe William Shatner really went to space and looked down and saw a globe? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I don't think this is the biggest conspiracy of all times. But whatever people believe, they believe. And they're never going to change their mind. And that's cool. That's cool. They're entitled to believe that. So we got one real twerpy guy in New York City that's running for mayor, saying he'll stand up to Trump. He looks like he's about 5'7", and he's going to be the man that'll be in Trump's face every day. First of all, he has no chance in hell or heaven, certainly, of ever winning a primary, and so he's just, he's just a piece of dung that will flash in the pan a little bit and stink up the pan, and then he'll be gone. And who knows what it'll come down to, whether it'll be Cuomo or if they'll find a way to keep him out. Mayor Adams running as an independent. Well, it's never easy when you're running as an independent, It's never easy. So we'll see, but we're still stuck with Kathy Hochul. And here in the city I live, the mayor is running for re-election again. He can't do anything about cars going down our street. Sometimes this is a private residential neighborhood. He can't do anything about cars going down our street 60, 65 miles an hour in a 30. Can't seem to do anything about that. They hardly ever stop people anymore. If they do, it's 3 or 4 police cars because you can tell they're scared. They want to go home at night. I understand that. So, but they are concerned about finding a really hot female cop to act as a lure, dress up in a mini skirt or whatever, and she usually attracts the kind of people that are the kind of people that the mayor would want to be in his voting uh, his voting base. Um, People that are not initially from this country. Um, so that they're concerned about, but there's so many other things. And now with catch and release, you just kind of look the other way. I still see a wide variety of young men with do-rags and what have you, with full-size BMWs speeding around the town, and you wonder how they got the money to afford that BMW or that full-size Audi or that Mercedes-Benz. Oh, Lord, won't you give me a Mercedes-Benz? I mean, my friends all have Porsches. I must make amends. Saw Stanley Tucci's new show on Italy. I mean, Stanley, there's other places, you know. What made Anthony Bourdain great? It wasn't all about food. And it wasn't crazy like Gordon Ramsay's Net Geo show where he's, you know, always, and it's always got to be a competition when it involves Gordon Ramsay. Either he's screaming at the people that are in one or he's in one himself. And he's deep sea diving and risking his life doing this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, man, just relax, take it easy. You got like 6, 7 shows. We see enough of you. And it's a little different on the show that's on Net Geo because he has to be nicer, you know. He's not in control. So I didn't stay for that. But I did watch the Stanley Tucci in Italy show, which Stanley is funding himself. I think there's only 8 episodes that are going to air. Of course, he, for 2 seasons, was on CNN with Stanley Tucci finding Italy. I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good because each place he went to was new. Now he's revisiting places. He has to, you know. And in the first episode, it's all so high end, you know. You're seeing people eat all this fancy Italian food, things you've never heard of, things that seem gross. And he's got to have the gay couple on, and he mentions that things in the government now are much more conservative in Italy. And Stanley Tucci is an obvious progressive. So he's got to state his political views during it, and you know, back in the old days, I'm not sure if he's referring to Italy. A family was simply called a household. A household. So he has no respect for traditional marriage, and I'm not against gay people. They can do what they want. They can legally marry now in many places, and that's between them, God, and the government, I suppose, who enacts laws. I don't think anybody should be persecuted for being gay or what have you. But it was just funny that he has to. You know, he makes the same mistake as so many of these people running for offices. He feels he can give the middle finger to more than half the country. It's always a growing number because as the Democrats / progressives become more repugnant in their beliefs, and they don't really have any beliefs to really enhance the lives of their constituents, they're all about their own power. You're alienating so many people by doing that, people that you want to watch your show. There was a video I saw of just a simple parish priest, and he was talking about Joe Biden and says this man follows none of the Catholic doctrine, fights against all the tenets of the faith. Yet, speaking of Rome at the time with Pope Francis, they let him take communion. They let him stay a Catholic in good standing, and he's an enemy of Catholicism. He's an enemy of Catholicism. So now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that this whole cancer diagnosis was just discovered, and they weren't keeping this from us the whole time he was president of the United States. And of course, they would still tell you today he was sharp as a tack during that time, when we now know, we have the tapes, we've been able to hear the tapes, that he was in serious cognitive decline. But he had one thing that they all protected and defended. He wasn't Donald Trump. If you have Trump derangement syndrome, you would vote for just about anybody over Donald Trump. And the results for you, and certainly for everybody else, the people that love God, love this country, will be catastrophic. You know, if we had Kamala Harris, and when you see all the things that's going on, the negotiating over in Saudi Arabia, I know that you have to be careful with the Saudis. I understand that. But the negotiation that's going on, and eventually Putin is going to really want to end this war, and because I think more than anything, he doesn't like being perceived as the bad guy. During the Trump era, his reputation was a little better, and he was able to go to the various meetings, world meetings, that he's now staying away from. And in his mind, he was able to justify. I'm not saying he wasn't a cold-blooded killer then. I believe he was. But this whole thing in Ukraine has just alienated him in a way that I think he is fed up with. So we'll see what happens there. So we want to just keep people in prayer for the weather situation, tornadoes, high winds, etc., happening in Kentucky, Tennessee, and perhaps other states it will bleed into as well. This is something that's part of our lives now. The weather patterns are changing, and you can blame it on electric cars not being mandatory, and nuclear power plants and what have you. Just recently, all the predictions that Al Gore made about the melting glaciers and stuff, they say the freeze is back on. There is a book that says it's not going to be our destruction. It's not going to be by fire. It's going to be by ice. So many of the things that Al Gore predicted for this time have not come true, thank God. God's in control, and we're not going to be able to fix it without calling on his name. So there you go. Worldwide Ramblings tonight at 10 p.m. If you hear this, see this at another time, just go to the live section of this channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned, and hit the live. Click on the live button, live segment, the word live, let's put it that way, and you'll be able to see all our past live shows. And then you can see all our past pre-recorded shows as we talk about the pastor from Benton, Arkansas, documentary being filmed. I don't know how long it'll take to come out. New sanctuary, as I speak to you, about to open, about 10 minutes from where they are now, outside of Benton, but in the same county in Arkansas. And then they're going to need a much bigger church in a big, big hurry. We'll speak about the George Magazine live event coming to Hot Springs, Arkansas tonight as well. And we're often on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. East Coast time, US of A as well. Thanks for watching for our little update. Check out our videos on many different topics here. And Love meeting you in the live stream. See you then.